Hi, folks. Welcome to part 3 of my end of year haul videos. This one is where I'll be showing the records I bought at the Windermere Record Fair, which was on Saturday, plus a couple of Discogs purchases I've made in the last month. So, not a lot to say about these because most of them I've not yet even had a chance to listen to. So we'll try and make this a short one for once. Right, first up we have this album by Michel Huygens, Capturing Holograms. Now Michel Huygens is, he's a Belgian-born synthesist, though he made his name in Spain, founding the Spanish version of Tangerine Dream called Neuronium. Neuronium were a 3-piece, went down to a 2-piece, and eventually just was Huygens on his own. He released albums as Neuronium and as Michel Huygens. I'm not sure what the difference is between them, but those first 5 or 6 Neuronium albums are excellent and well worth getting if you're into electronic music. Unfortunately, this album, which is from 1984, is a bit of a disappointment. It features digital synths in a fairly light, simplistic style. First couple of tracks incorporate Michel on vocals, I think trying to sing in a bit of that sort of Gary Newman style, but nowhere near as good. And so it's got that synth pop feel on those. There's another track with, again, simplistic sequencer patterns and a little bit cheesy. Some of the other rest of it isn't bad. I mean, the good thing about it is it's less than half an hour long. So, yeah, a disappointment considering what early Neuronium were like. Sticking with the electronic theme, we move from Spain to Japan, and we have this double album by Guaro, the Japanese synthesist, with Silk Roads Parts 1 and 2. This is I think a soundtrack to a television series. Guaro's music is generally considered sort of new age-ish. It's beautiful, light, sort of music I'd have to be in the mood to listen to because there isn't enough darkness and atmosphere for me. But I've got about 3 or 4 of his albums. You always see them knocking around fairly cheap, and the nice albums. I've got part 3 of Silk Road, so I know what to expect on this. But for what was it? A £5, I think, for a double album. Okay for me. Next up was one that I'd considered buying when it first came out as part of a record store day a couple of years ago. But for whatever reason, I can't remember, I didn't go ahead and get it. And that's Ultravox, live at the Rainbow 1977. It's another fairly short album. Maybe that's the reason I didn't buy it, because it was expensive and short. I haven't had, this was sealed, I've opened it and cleaned it, but I've not yet played it, so I don't know what the sound quality is like. I'm looking forward to this, because this is the sort of era of Ultravox I really like, when John Fox was the vocalist. You get great tracks like Saturday Night in the City of the Dead, The Wild, the Beautiful and the Damned. I expect this is obviously going to be that more punkish version of Ultravox before they went down the more electronic road. But no, pleased to find this at a lot cheaper price than I would have had to pay on RSD.
Cards of madness will oppress men from their knees to petrify more images to dangle just outside the reach of the stunted and the dreamless ones who have nothing left to keep for frozen dawns or nights as cold as these have been. Don't ask for explanations, there's nothing left you to understand. The wonderful, the beautiful, and the damned. The beautiful, and the damned.
Next up is an album by the Gary Burton Quartet in concert from, I think, 1968 was when it was recorded. I think released in 69. Gary Burton being obviously a famous jazz vibes player, and he's got a great lineup as part of his quartet. You have Larry Coryell on guitar, Steve Swallow on bass, and Bob Moses on drums. This is pleasant. I must admit, with a lineup of Coryell and Swallow, I was expecting something a bit more jazz fusion-ish. But this is more, I think it's described as post-bop. So it's pleasant, it's good. The playing's superb, obviously. I just could do with a bit more oomph to it. But no, I'm pleased to have picked this one up. Now this one was an unusual one. An artist I hadn't heard of, but I was intrigued by. This is, if you can read the script, this is Joe O'Donnell with Geodal's Vision. I'm not sure if that's pronounced correctly. I'd never heard of this album, this artist, but I looking at the back, I saw that it was produced by John Field, and he plays flutes on it. John Field being from Jade Warrior, and on guitars is one Rory Gallagher. Now, this is a concept album about Celtic mythology, Irish mythology, and it is an album of Celtic-driven fusion, orchestral, more ambient pieces, and obviously folk rock pieces. It's quite good, particularly I think when it goes down the more fusion route. Looking him up, it seems he was a member of a later version of East of Eden. Oh, and he is a violinist, Joe O'Donnell, plays electric violin as well as acoustic. This is quite a decent album for a £5. It's well worth picking up. But I don't think I would have looked at it if I hadn't seen that John Field and Rory Gallagher were on it. But yeah, decent. Going down a totally different path, we have the excellent ZZ Top and I think their fifth album from '76, Tejas, which is an excellent album. I think one of their strongest. Just opened it up. There's the three guys themselves. This includes some superb tracks. Two of my favourites being Arrested for Driving While Blind and the wonderful El Diablo. I think, as I said, this I think is one of their strongest albums. Up there, I think, with Tres Hombre. This was obviously before they became ultra popular with Eliminator and so on. But you know what you're going to get with ZZ Top.
Driving down the highway at night, and you're feeling that wild turkey's bite. Don't give Johnny Walker a ride, 'cause Jack Black is right by your side. You might get taken to the jailhouse at night. You've been arrested for driving while blind. Now just the other night with nothing to do, we broke a case of proof for 102. I started itching for that wonderful feel of rolling in an automobile. You can say we was out of our mind, and let me tell you we were flying while blind.
The final pickup from Windermere was an album that I've already got, but I've been looking for ages, and that's the wonderful Magma with In Edits, an album released in 1977. It was released on the Tapioca label. I've had this since late 70s, early 80s. I've had a copy of this. But my copy, I think, was secondhand at the time and it's not in the greatest of states. So, like I say, I've been looking for an upgrade for a long time. So I was really pleased to find this. It's not one you see in the racks very often. Now, this is a live album recorded by various lineups, I think between about 71 and 75. So you get a lot of the great players that played with Christian Vander. You get Benoit Wiedemann, you get Francois Kahn, Yannick Top, Bernard Paganotti, Claude Olmos, Didier Lockwood, Klaus Blasquez, René Garber, Teddy Larcy, and more. It gets knocked for the sound quality, and yes, it is a bit of a murky sound, but your ears adjust to that, and it is superb. As I say, it's live. All of it's unreleased material, in as much as unreleased in this form. Some of the themes in these tracks were later used for the K.A. Concatrans Anteria album that came out in 2004. But superb playing, as you'd expect with Magma, particularly side one where Yannick Top, his bass is just absolutely thunderous, brilliant stuff. Really pleased to be able to upgrade my old copy with this one. Now, two items that I bought on Discogs for Christmas. And the first one comes out of doing the video I did recently of my favourite folk rock acts of from the British Isles. And one of the favourite acts of mine that I featured were the Scottish folk rock band Five Hand Reel. So this album is by the Danish folk singer, and I think he was a DJ. I don't know much about him. Alan Klitgaard, and his album Ebbe, Dagmar, Svend, and Alan. And the reason I searched this out and bought it is that backing him throughout the album are the members of Five Hand Reel. And you can tell. This is a really good album. He's got a good voice as Alan, and these are sort of Danish traditional pieces, obviously done in a folk rock manner. Released on Sonnet Dansk Gramophone in 1978. I didn't know about this album until recently when I did the folk video. So I was really pleased to be able to find a cheap copy, all the way from Denmark. Excellent stuff.
Klædte sig i silkefin og så i gyldens brud, og så drog de til kirkebrænds alt med den unge brud. Jeg vil ride ud i Mussolini, og bruden stod for kirkedør, alt som en rosenblomme. Og hun bad dem til vandet, se om brudgommen ej måtte komme. Det svarede Nilovs Bendiksen, det nytter ej at bie. Her tyge kommer ej i dag, de begge løs og stride. Jeg vil ride ud imod så vægen. Men jeg har intet bedre råd, så er jeg flugs til rede. Her tyge har dertil mig sendt, jeg i hans sted skal træde. Han trådte i her tyge sted i kirken og på bænken. Og så tog han den unge brud, så vel som brudet skænken. Jeg vil ride ud imod så vægen.
And I can't remember what I was looking for on Discog when I came across this next album. But it was cheap, and I thought, I've got to have this. This is Maurice Pert and his album Luminous Chromosphere and 4 Japanese Verses. Well, I think it's actually just called The Music of Maurice Pert, I think. And those are the 3 tracks that are featured. Maurice Pert was a classically trained musician, played mainly drums and percussion and piano. Best known for his time in Brand X. But like I say, he was classically trained, wrote a lot of pieces in the modern classical vein, went on to join Stomo Yamashita's band for a couple of years, and with members of that band formed the fusion band Sun Treader, which was about the time also that he recorded this album. And this was, I said, before he went then on to Brand X. Now, the reason I picked up this one particularly is side 2 is a side-long 27-minute track called Chromosphere, which is performed by his fusion band Sun Treader, recorded live. So I thought, I've got the Sun Treader album and it's excellent. So I thought, this is going to be good stuff. However, it is. Well, this is not fusion. This is modern classical, avant-garde classical music. Track 1, Luminos, which is a 15-minute track, is a duet for basset horn and piano. I think a basset horn is a member of the clarinet family. The second track is 4 Japanese Verses, which is for soprano and piano, which I was a bit wary of because vocals on modern classical stuff isn't always to my taste, but the young lady Veronica Hayward is an excellent singer. Second part of the 4 verses, the second verse, I think she sounds a bit like Dagmar Krauser in that point, which might not be a great thing to a lot of people, but I like Dagmar. As I said, the second side is that Sun Treader piece. I was expecting that to be fusion, but it is, again, in the modern classical, avant-garde classical style. You get Maurice Pert on percussion drums and acoustic piano, Peter Robinson on electric piano, clarinet, organ and percussion, Neville Whitehead on electric bass and percussion, Paul Buckmaster on electric cello, acoustic piano and percussion, and Martin Ford on electric French horn and percussion. So a very percussion heavy track, this one. But I was really impressed with this, and I think there's a couple of more albums of his more sort of modern classical music that I'm going to keep an eye out for. But no, excellent stuff. Well, that's it, folks, for the year. It just remains to wish you all the very best for 2025. So hopefully I will see you again very shortly in the new year. Take care. Bye.